We remember.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Turf Therapy. Today's episode of Turf Therapy, we finally got the second one up. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna transplant my peppers. I got a little bit of maintenance to do as well. As you can see here, we need to go ahead and cut this stuff back. So let's go ahead and knock that out. All right, guys, welcome back to my Zone 7A garden. So what you see is me, I'm just doing some light pruning on my butternut squash. I'm finding the limbs that don't look healthy and I'm removing them so I can have some nice healthy growth come in. And look at this, we found a friend trying to creep in there. I'm gonna go ahead and rehome you real quick, get you out of there. Yeah. All right, so once I get done with this one, I'm gonna move on to my patty pan squash. My patty pan squash has been suffering from a calcium deficiency is pretty much what I narrowed it down to now. So I have a problem, I have a fix for that, and I'll be getting to that. So we're doing the same thing here, guys. Right here, you'll see these are the male flowers. They're already spent, so it's no need for them to sap up any energy. So when you guys are thinking about planting in these different ways, one thing that I'm trying to do is pair things that like to be together, that naturally fight off different insects and diseases. I'm also going to give the technique crowd confusion a try, which is when you plant things in between to where those pests that you don't want here, they get confused along the way. Like, you know, they don't usually want onion and pepper, but they would love to have them some cucumber. So you plant something in between there that kind of deters them from even going further into your crop. So we'll give it a try. Just make a little hole. Now I already got this in here. I gotta, I moistened it up. But these roots, they are dying to spread their wings. Look at that. See, it's a little root bound. So I'm gonna go ahead and just loosen it up a little. Nothing too crazy. Just I wanna wake it up so it knows that it has room to kind of stretch its legs now and grow. So, yeah. When you're planting your plants, you don't wanna plant above where the original root ball was. That's because wherever you did your original root ball, it actually is the strongest part of the plant. So if you happen to come and, plant over that strongest part in the plant, what could end up happening is, well, you end up losing your plant because that base of it, think of it like its trunk, and it gets too wet, soggy, gets too moisture, and you bury that, and then it can't perform, right, as it needs to. I try to feed my plants 1st and the 15th. Really easy to remember, except just now when I kind of forgot. It was really easy to remember the 1st and the 15th because that's usually when, we get paid, right? Yeah, that check hits your account. You need to come out here and give them some 5-11 or whatever your fertilizer of choice is. That's what you should be doing. All right, so I'm gonna throw in 5 pepper plants right now. 3 of them are sweet peppers and the other 2 are purple jalapeno Hungarian peppers, which is pretty cool. I'm also gonna go ahead and drop in my red basil along with my sweet basil. Man, that yard looks good. Color looks beautiful. I'll go ahead and fert soon as well. The carrots are almost done. Yeah. So let's feed these worms, right? Let's feed the worms. Feed the worms, gotta eat too. That's right. dump that in there. And it looks gross, I'm not gonna lie. And I know what you're thinking, does it stink? I promise you, it really doesn't stink. So we got coffee grounds in here. I got like a carrot top from a baby carrot that I harvested, that I saw an extra one in there. And matter of fact, we're gonna harvest the carrot today. How about that? We'll say that to the end of the video. But now that we have majority greens, we need to add some more brown in here. So let's just get this shredded up. The Worm Factory 360 itself and worms environment, not just with this factory, but worms prefer, or they breathe through their skin. So the environment must be aerobic, meaning there can be moisture, but there needs to be more air than moisture. If there's not more air than moisture, what happens? It goes anaerobic. And in anaerobic conditions, that is where the nasty bugs we don't want, that's when they thrive, not little companion pests like these springtails I'm about to show you. I don't know, they may have, they're probably thriving in there. Let me not even kid myself. And the reason why I got on gloves, you don't need gloves. I don't think they bite or anything, but when you're dealing with them, you might get itchy right there from where you are at home. So the idea is you want half green, half brown. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mix it together, and I'm gonna prep all of this. Worms don't like the light, so I'm gonna prep as much of this before we open it up. So all I do is I got my dollar store bucket. Go over to the dollar store, get you a bucket, and then I take this stuff, and I just mix it in there. And I mix it to a consistency of when I squeeze it. So when I squeeze it, there's no moisture coming off. So there's no moisture coming off of that. The smaller you make the pieces, the better. All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready to see them? My wife, she won't touch this stuff. And I don't blame her, now that it's loaded with spring worms. Let's get you a better view. And I'm hoping, the GoPros, you know, they're not the best with the close-ups, guys, but I'm hoping you'll still be able to see what's going on in here. So none of them are on the top. They're usually hanging out here on the top, which kind of lets me know maybe I dried them out. Now, I see a few in here, but last time when I opened it up, they were literally jumping, jumping all over the place. So springtails are super tiny, little white. Oh yeah, they're still here. They're still here, guys. They're still here. You see all the white things crawling? You see them? Yep, that's what we call springtails. So nothing to be alarmed about. Is it going to hurt the worms? Nope, sure won't. Worms will thrive in it, no problem whatsoever. If it gets too bad, too overwhelming, of course, see, and now they're jumping out. That's why they're called springtails, because they spring. They're springing all over the place right now. This is looking good, guys. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit on here because we're almost full, but look at that. Real good mix, and you can see the springtails actually shaking off of it. That's wild. Okay, so no, it doesn't smell either, for those who are wondering if this stinks. It does not stink at all. The moment it starts stinking, that means you've done something wrong, I promise you. So I'll go ahead and get this in here. I don't think I'm even gonna need all of it. When you're filling these up, you want to fill them up to about 1 inch. All right. Leaving 1 inch gap. And that's done, right? So we can move on to the next tray, because that tray is done, right? Because it's filled up. And then this last tray, this right here, we're gonna call this our bedding, because it's a little drier. And I know that they're gonna come up. I've been with these worms long enough to know how they react. But after I add this into this mix, what I will do is I will come back in about 4 days after they've had a chance to settle. I'll come back in about 4 days, and what I will do is check to see if they're up here and everything is still copacetic with them. All right, guys, so I have this carrot over here. I'm pretty sure it's done because its shoulder, you see its shoulder right here is poking out. Now this one is going to give me a good idea of what everything else is going to look like on the other side. This is my first batch because this one has gone through some pain. I've had pretty bad infestation with fungus gnats. So let's go ahead and pull her up and see what we got. All right, so baby tiny little carrot. She went through a lot, bless her soul. Is there something else down there? Yeah, it broke. That's the rest of her. Okay, little tiny carrot, and guess what? She's ugly, but I'm gonna eat her. I sure am. Little short stubby one. Let's go rinse her off. Farm to table. She might be ugly, but she tastes good. All right, before we go, though, I want to show you something else. Remember those peas we did? Look at that. They're all coming up. Pretty sure, still waiting on a couple, but for the most part, we are thriving. Yep. Remember when we sowed those seeds back here? Well, first of all, look at the kale. Oh my goodness, look at the lettuce. So if you're wondering if kale and lettuce can do well in an area that only gets 4 to 6 hours of sun, depending on whether or not Mother Nature wants to cooperate, they can. They are freaking thriving. Look at them thriving. My beets are thriving. Now something happened. I fed them yesterday and they all stood up, and I think something was in here last night. I got like these little divots in here. It literally looks like a little animal was up here just wreaking havoc. I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep my eye out for them though. It's about time for me to thin some more of these out. This one looks like, yeah, that's a little baby one. Let's get that out of here. But this is what I brought you back here for. Other than the peas that are starting to come up, look at that. You see those? Let me see. See if I can get it on camera. You see that right there? And that right there? And these right here? And all of that? Look at that. These are all the carrots we sowed, and they're coming up. And that's the lettuce that I crowd cropped on purpose. And this is some more lettuce that I kind of just scattered to see how it would do. So everything has germinated. The grass looks really good. This is the dreaded part of the season, right? If you have Kentucky bluegrass, you got a lot of this going on. These freaking seed heads are all throughout the lawn. You see them? So it gives like this hazy look. Don't worry about this. A lot of people will panic and think it's Poa. It's definitely not Poa annua. This is just Kentucky bluegrass thinking that it needs to seed itself, which is just annoying because it doesn't. We put down seed for that. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps this episode up. Thanks for checking in to Turf Therapy, where we're healing lawns and souls. And I'll see you next week for your weekly dose of therapy with Rob.